So today's lesson, we're finding the surface area of triangular prisms when given those three-dimensional shapes. And so we're going to start with this little box on top. The surface area of a triangular prism can be found by adding the area of its faces. A triangular prism is made up of 2 triangles and 3 rectangles, as we know. The area of the triangles will always be the same, right? Because they're the ends and they're going to be equal. However, the dimensions of the rectangles, so length times width, are dependent upon the sides of the triangle. So the length, the width, or the height. And all those 3 rectangles are going to be different depending on those 3 dimensions. So you have 2 examples on top. This first shape, so the example on the left, that is a right angled triangular prism, and then the one on the left is an equilateral triangular prism, because all 3 sides are equal. And knowing that can help us answer some questions. So the nice thing about equilateral triangles, notice all 3 are the same. However, back to that right triangle on the left, our 3 sides were different. So they're not always going to be the same size, because we have 10 by 20, a 10 by 12, and a 10 by 16. So all 3 of these are very different, while on the other side, all 3 would be the same. And we're going to do one example today, and we're going to do number 3. And to start, it says, what kind of triangle do we have? So first we want to think about what kind of triangle. So we have equilateral, isosceles, or just an acute triangle. And this one's just acute. It's not a right angle triangle. None of the sides are the same. Doesn't really give us much information. So whenever I start solving these problems, I always think about my triangle end. So I have a triangle end and another triangle end. And so if I look at my triangle, here it is, and I know they're going to be the same. I need to look at base times height divided by 2. The base of my triangle is 4. The height makes the right angle, which is 6 in this case, divided by 2. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So the area of a triangle is 12, which means my other triangle is also 12. And then I have 3 rectangles. My first rectangle, and it doesn't matter which one you start with, I'm going to go with this side back here. So I see it's 6.5 times the height, 20. So 6.5 times 20. And when I multiply that together, I get 130. Then I'm going to look at my next rectangle. It's going to be this edge here, which I see is 5.2 times 20. And that gets to be 104. And then my last rectangle, which is really hard to see now, but I know it's the front surface of this box that's facing me, which I can see is 4 by 20. And 4 by 20 is 80. The one thing I want to point out, when you're doing your rectangle edges, you're always going to have one number that's the same in all 3, because that was the height. All the rectangles shared that same height, but the other number could be different. It could be the same. We just never know. That's an individual problem that we have to figure out. And lastly, we're going to add all of these numbers that I've circled together. And when I do so, I end up with a surface area of 338. And don't forget my label, centimeters squared, because it's area.